I knew he was up for it.
You gotta pretty much be on the throttle to every pit.
We definitely could have done a little better.
It's not easy. It's almost like you're thrown in an emergency spot. It's like, all right, we got to fix this now and make it happen.
I think the biggest thing about racing in the desert is not knowing how to go fast, but knowing when to go slow. We don't know if this bike's gonna vibrate or feelings loose.
We get a text message from Forrest, and Ciaran and I look at it at the same time, and it says, "I'm sorry, boys."
I was like, fuck, it's all on me.
Day one, we stayed at Forrest place. Pretty cool place. Definitely slept with my mask though. I didn't want no bugs flying into my mouth. And not a bad start.
Oh my goodness. There's so many mouthfuls. Wow. I've never seen anyone do that.
Definitely a good experience getting to know these guys. I never met any of them but Ciaran. Everybody comes from a little bit of a different background.
I had a friend of a friend who recommended that this guy, Anthony Rodriguez, come over and hang out with us at some point because he's an amazing, supercross, motocross racer and has been like, proper paid pro and everything, but wants to get more into the free riding and filming and things like that. We're just starting a new State of Ethos gig, so let's try to work it all in.
It had been a while since I rode with people like that in the desert. I guess that's what riding a dirt bike is all about. I don't think there was a moment where I wasn't laughing in this entire trip, especially when I was on top of the bike.
We had become friends with Anthony Rodriguez. He was really excited about coming and trying to race in the desert. He's a professional supercross and motocross racer and MXGPs, and he was more than talented and capable of doing it, and why not throw him in the mix? And your first off-road race, go race the longest one in America, which, why not? We all knew that A-Rod really knew how to go fast, but I didn't know if he knew how to slow. And if you don't slow down when you can't see over a rise, or you don't choke up when you should, it'll bite you. And you'll end up on the ground with your body broken, or the bike, or both. So we were all a little nervous.
I had prepared myself over the last 2 months since Forrest asked me to be a part of this race program. I was training and doing what I had to do on my end to give Forrest and this bike and the team my 100% effort. So once I got to Johnson Valley, I was ready to go. I was in the zone, just ready to do what we had to do out there, get our preparation done, and head to the races. Yeah, so testing, got on the bike, pretty mellow start to it all. Ended up just going and riding and just clicking off a few miles.
We're doing like final shakedown on the bike, some testing. Right now, Nick's just doing his first ride. That's gonna be everyone's first ride except for me. I'm just getting the feel for the bike. We changed the gearing. We have some forks to test from HM, some other extra setting. A bunch of different variables we gotta figure out.
The boys were doing their test laps and they were kind of breaking in the engine. Breaking in that engine, getting their hot laps in.
Right now we're trying to figure out the loop. Basically the boys are testing the bike, the CR500, the one they're gonna race on Friday. So we're figuring out where the loop is and then gonna get you guys in the spot so you can shoot, because on race day, we're not gonna get a lot of footage. So we're gonna fake some footage as if they're racing right now.
We're hyped. We know that the bike has had its heat cycles and that we're gonna test it this day. The kicker was that we're trying to balance filming and testing. So we're trying to make Dustin happy and we're trying to make ourselves happy with the bike.
But unfortunately, there was one corner, but there was one corner with like 5 offshoots off it and then another corner with the same.
I had a feeling that this was gonna be the toughest thing that we were gonna have to shoot, because Forrest was just like, yeah, you go out, you go over the big trophy truck roads, you hang a left, you go to the main road, you hang another left, and then you loop back to the compound. I'm sitting there like, we were driving out in the desert. How many distinctive left turns are there?
We kept telling them to pick this one corner and do this one lap so that the photo and video guys could get the shot. They wouldn't listen to us. They're going like Mach 10 in the middle of the heat. They're busting their ass. Their number one priority is to make sure this engine is solid and working.
So it's like a needle in a haystack kind of deal.
Yeah. We're the needles. They all kind of hit the one straight, and we got that shot. And then right when they turn, they start coming up, and it's like all the whoops, and that's the shot we wanted. And as we're sitting there, me, Monty, and Gas, trying to figure out which trail to go up, looking at all these tire marks going, I think these are the freshest. So then we all set up there. Next thing you know, you see them in the distance. You'd hear them coming by, and the next thing you know, they come, and then they just go right by you, and we see them over the next ridge, just blowing by. And I'm shooting film, so it's like, do I burn this film on this shot that might work, or do I save it?
Everything seemed great. Everyone was loving the bike.
So I think after 4.5 hours and being in the desert, I think I shot 30 seconds worth of film.
I was pretty over it.
So they're not necessarily thinking about us getting the right angle, the right shot, but we're down there pointing at, go this corner, go this line, and inevitably they would go the wrong corner, wrong line every time. So we would move to the next one to catch them, and then they would go to the one that we had asked them to the time before. So we spent a good 4 or 5 hours, I wouldn't say missing the shot, because that means you had a chance to get it. I would say we spent a good 4 or 5 hours with a good lesson of futility, just looking at each other, me and the boys going like, what the fuck are you kidding? Like, it felt like a joke. No way you can line up for the same shot that many times and still not get it.
Rough one. I've been on some rough shoots and it's got to be up there.
What's up, Gas? You haven't been doing the Peloton?
I was getting pissed at this point. I'm like, dude, this is the biggest fucking waste of time ever. It's hot as shit. I need a break. Dude, fucking sit in the desert before I just sweat my balls out.
And once again, Gas was just Gas. I really thought he might just keel over right there in the desert. Let the buzzards come get him.
Lessons in futility are something that happens in the desert.
About halfway through the day, A-Rod comes in, he's like, I can't even hold on to this thing. It's like, it feels like I'm getting shocked, the bike's vibrating so bad.
This thing was vibrating way too much. Like my hands were hurting and I'm like, everybody's told me that's how it's gonna be.
Yeah, I'm looking at Nick, he's looking at me, he's like, who's this factory guy, fucking pussy? It's like a two-stroke, you know? We're all like, kind of giving him shit. So I'm like, give me that thing. So I hop on the bike, I go about half a mile, and I'm like, oh shit, this bike vibrates so bad. Like, what are we thinking? Like, we're not gonna be able to go 500 miles, there's no way. I come back, and I'm like in my head, kind of sweating, like what did I get us into? So we start inspecting the bike. Sure enough, every single motor mount had come loose. Just vibrated itself loose. Got it all tightened back up. Spirits are high, the bike's good, it's handling good, the vibration's gone, or most of it anyways. A-Rod goes out again for a second loop, comes back, and he's like, hey, I was holding it wide open and the bike bogged. I'm like, that's weird, you know? And we kind of didn't think too much of it. Ciaran gets on the bike, goes to start it, and sure enough, there's just this clanking noise. Sounds like the motor's just falling apart inside. We take the ignition cover off, and the flywheel had come loose, and in the process had, you know, boogered up the threads on the crank and done some damage to the ignition cover, and it sent us into a tailspin because we had to get it done. We were leaving for the race the next morning, and we had about half the tools we needed and none of the time.
Right when it was like, bike's done, no one wants to ride, Gas is like in the car, puts on a song, he starts singing to it, and then we just see A-Rod coming. And just music dies, and Gas just dead quiet again. Doesn't say a word. But we got the sickest shots, I think, of the whole trip there, so.
I forgot about that one sketchy moment. So there was one sketchy moment. So me, Kelly, and Dustin were 3 in a line looking like paparazzi with all of our cameras pointing at A-Rod. And usually I can tell how close I can get to somebody by their skill level. If I've known how their riding style, I can be comfortable with them getting close to me at high speeds. So I've only met A-Rod for a day now. I still don't get like what his style is, but man, I learned his style there. We were sitting there in the line and we're like, okay, do a wheelie towards us in the sunset. We weren't asking for a high-speed wheelie or nothing, just a simple wheelie. And dude, this guy comes fucking ripping. And me and Dustin are right here, Kelly's to the right of me. And I literally turned my lens and you could see in the clip, it barely touches the tire. And I was like, holy crap. Like, there's another picture of it that Monty took. It literally looks like he's gonna run into us.
So I had no freaking idea of what I was doing.
Sick clip though, we got it.
What were we talking about?
The bike was fucked. It wasn't gonna run as is. We couldn't fix it with what we had. So I started making some frantic calls. Called my friend Tom, who owns TMC Vintage Motorcycle Rentals in Hesperia, about an hour away from the compound. I'm like, hey, we have an issue, I need your help. He said, come on down. We got there like 9 p.m. The guys got this shop. It looks like a Snap-on tool museum.